Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, November 3rd, 2014. Can't I believe it's November already? Of course, live tonight from Buffalo, New York. Any Tour Survivor Series, very intriguing Raw, as you see by my subtitle. Of course, we saw the return of Vince McMahon tonight. He has been on TV in a few weeks, or maybe a few months, should I say. And he added a new interesting stipulation to the pay-per-view main event of Survivor Series. Now, as I'm making this review, you may see my eyes wander. Of course, right now, as I'm speaking, as I'm making this review, I'm also watching on my tablet the WWE Network exclusive main event for the network only for $9.99 for me, because I'm a previous subscriber. Of course, free for the rest of the month for new subscribers. Sheamus against Rusev. So that match will be starting after the aftermath of a shocking end to our main event tonight, proving that the Authority, in my mind, is falling apart. Also, you can see by my subtitle, especially the Authority got shaken up with the return of Vince McMahon, and like I said, him adding a new stipulation as we began Raw tonight. Him advertising, of course, the new WWE Network deal for new subscribers. God, I knew they were going to advertise the fuck out of it tonight. Boy, oh boy, they abused the shilling tonight. Now, he said he wanted to raise the stakes a little bit in the Team Cena, Team Authority, 5-man traditional Survivor Series main event for the pay-per-view. He decided that if the Authority team shall lose, the Authority will lose their power. That is an intriguing storyline. Some people love the Authority. Some people hate the Authority. I love the way they're playing their characters. I'll say that much. I've been applauding. They've been trolling the fans, especially when Triple H said, I know you angry Twitter people are going to trigger your disapproval. Treat your disapproval. But let me say this. They're all getting annoying. You know what I mean? That's what makes them so, that's what makes them so hateable. They play the character so well, it makes you love to hate them. Like back in the day. It's more like a watered-down McMahon-Helmsley era of this Authority. But it's still, we're all sick of it. So maybe we will see Cena's team win at Survivor Series. Of course, Cena was not on Raw tonight for an undisclosed reason. So it's one of those few Cena-less Raws tonight. I heard they're offering refunds. That's what's weird, is that every time Cena misses an event, he has to have the fans who want to see him get refunds. I think they had it until before Raw began. So after Vince McMahon came out, Authority and Toll, Triple H Stephanie, and after that big stipulation, walking the Authority to its core, trying to get everything pieced up together, especially trying to fix the problems between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins that we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks. We'll see if they try to solve that issue later on in the evening. But let's get on down to our first contest. Dean Ambrose coming out to take on Cesaro in a proper match on Raw this week, following last week's attack from Ambrose that prevented the match from ever happening, and the match on SmackDown more like a street fight. This is more like a real match tonight. But once again, despite Ambrose's efforts against Cesaro, he had one man on the brain. That was Bray Wyatt, who came out in the middle of the match, sitting in his rocking chair, just sitting and watching Ambrose beat the crap out of Cesaro, even making him bleed a little bit. Man, a couple blood cuts tonight. Cesaro was the first match that saw a blood cut, with Cesaro getting elbowed by Ambrose, and then the cut just got obliterated open, and just Ambrose was on top of it. Despite Cesaro's best effort in a decent matchup against Ambrose, trying to use his physical, hard uppercut style to match up with the crazy lunatic style, the lunatic fringe known as Dean Ambrose. The lunatic style of Dean Ambrose got the win, with, of course, the dirty deeds and the 1, 2, 3 unintentional way for Dean Ambrose getting the victory and wanting to get his hands on Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt vanished like a thief in the night before Ambrose would get his hands on Mr. Wyatt. I bet you those two will have some sort of match at Survivor Series. Either I want them to have a Survivor Series match. I've said this on my Raw review last week and also my Attack Sports today, that I think Ambrose and Wyatt should be in a Survivor Series match, traditional Survivor Series match, whether it's the part of Team Cena and Authority. I don't think that's going to happen. But on their own Survivor Series match. And have a Because that's how good old traditional Survivor Series matches work. You have rivals opposing each other on different teams. And heat up their feud in the Survivor Series match. And then make a singles match, possibly a good singles match at TLC. That's what I think they should do. If Ambrose get the victory, we'll see what happens there. And see what Cesaro goes from here. But Ambrose and Wyatt's feud continues. We also saw, of course, Harper and Warren all being separated from the Wyatt family. We saw Harper's creepy problem with the eyes thing. And then we saw Warren came out doing an interview with Renee Young, smelling Renee's hair, saying pretty. That was weird. Alright, as I'm making this review, it's kind of weird. We had a lot of guys wrestle twice tonight. Sheamus and Rusev became one of them. Two of those guys wrestled twice. Of course, as I'm speaking right now, the match is just starting between Sheamus and Rusev on the network. It's kind of weird. I've never seen, like, well, at the Backstage Pass shows, but this is the first time they've ever had a match on the post show. Usually they have a dark match main event for the fans in the arena, but now it's being broadcasted on the network. So there you go. I'll tell you what happens during that match as I'm making my review. Alright, get on down to our next matchup. We had Uso, one half of the Usos, Jimmy Uso and The Miz, trying to avenge the Trin Magic tag team loss on Monday night. And once again, as usual, Sandow was mimicking Miz's every move. And even Jey Uso was trying to mimic Jimmy's moves too. Try to get at one up Miz a little bit. It was a decent little matchup between those two guys. Miz and Jimmy Uso. Because Uso's flying style, taking on Miz's more methodical style, because the big splashes and all that stuff. And Sandow, I've been talking about Sandow for the last couple weeks. That he's been really embracing this character of Miz now. And hope it leads to something. Hope it leads to his greatest acting job of all. A double cross on Miz. That's a big payoff. To see Miz now finally get the well-deserved push he has earned by sifting through WWE's crap. And once again, Sandow kind of helped Miz out in this case. As Miz got tossed over the top rope and Sandow distracted one of the Usos to get super kicked. And Miz kind of capped off that I call it a sacrifice move, as Sandow sacrificed himself for the benefit of Miz, who benefited from that distraction, took advantage, nailing Jimmy Uso from behind, nailing the skull-crushing finale, and the 1-2-3 victory for the Miz in a decent little matchup against one of the Usos, Jimmy Uso. Now, like I said, Sheamus and Rusev are wrestling right now, as I'm talking and I'm reviewing, and they both wrestled twice. Sheamus' first match of the night on the regular show was against Tyson Kidd. I've been watching NXT on the network. Man, I'm plugging in the network as much as they are on their own show. Hello, I'm wearing the shirts. Make fun of me or not. So I'm plugging in the network as much as they are. But I'm not as annoying with it as they are. Anyway, it's kind of cool to see Tyson Kidd coming out of NXT, and he's doing well in NXT. He's had some great matches in NXT lately. So I'm happy that he's back in the main roster. And of course, the Daddy's husband, James, goes with Natalia in the ringside area. And he kind of used Natty as a shield as Sheamus was pummeling on Tyson Kidd with his big moves. Of course, trying to do the 10 beats of the boundary. And Tyson Kidd had some good moves too in a decent matchup there. But seeing Tyson get the win over Sheamus, being a countout, was kind of weird. Especially with Rusev taking on Sheamus taking on Rusev tonight. You know, right now, as I'm talking. So, Sheamus and Tyson were fighting off in the ringside area. This is how it led up to the countout victory. Sheamus was trying to go for the brogue kick on Tyson, but Tyson used Natalia as a shield. He used his own weapon as a shield, got back in the ring before the count, and Sheamus got counted out, and Tyson got the countout victory. We had I think we had a couple countouts, a couple DQs tonight. Hey, storyline enhancement, that's what they're doing. But it's kind of weird to see Sheamus lose like that, especially before his match against Rusev. Right now, Rusev is just pummeling on Sheamus at the outside of the turnbuckle area. Rusev's looking strong in his half. I don't think Rusev's going to win. I think Rusev's going to lose by DQ. Because I don't think Rusev should have his first loss on the WWE Network. It should be on a pay-per-view on Raw, but not the fucking network. And I don't think he should win on the network as well. So there'll be something stupid, like a DQ or countout, I predict, between Rusev and Sheamus as this match continues on. So, there you go. we went from one champion to another champion. Dolph Ziggler coming out. Now, Ziggler's been asked to be on Cena's team. I kind of predicted that he would be on Cena's team. And I think it's official now that he'll be part of Team Cena by defying the Authority's offer to join their team, which, as of tonight, was scheduled to be captained by Seth Rollins. I predicted that. I also predicted Kane. And Randy Orton was added to the team, despite the problems. Like I said, the Authority was trying to keep everybody together because they knew what's on the line in Survivor Series. Their very existence when it comes to their power. You know, if they lose the power. So the Authority needs everybody get all their ducks in a row and try to get everything patched together and have everyone settle the differences. But of course, Randy Orton would rear his ugly head in our next matchup, which would be, of course, Seth Rollins taking on Dolph Ziggler. Of course, Triple H and Stephanie was trying to not show favoritism by punishing people who's on Cena's team or wants to be on Cena's team, but it seemed like punishment as Dolph Ziggler was forced to take on Seth Rollins for the IC Championship tonight. A decent fun matchup between these two guys. Very good. They're very good athletes. You know, two guys that are poised to be future superstars if they don't fuck up their booking when it comes to WWE wise, especially Rollins and specifically more. It would have been interesting to see Rollins win the IC Championship. Get a lot of heat on him. But it was a very fun matchup. All these guys just beat the crap out of each other. Very good athletes. Both guys were dealing with the finishing moves. Everything. Of course, the Authority did try to get involved in the matchup. Of course, the cronies, Jamie Noble and Joy Buckley were at ringside, trying to help out their golden boy, Seth Rollins. And with their distractions, it looked like Rollins was going to take advantage of it and had Dolph Ziggler down for the count and down for the curb stomp after distractions from Noble and Buckley. But just as Rollins looked like he was clinching the Intercontinental Championship in his hands, here comes Randy Orton with the RKO from behind. Out of nowhere, as they would say. So, with Rollins out, they were supposed to be on the same team. You know, Orton was named to the Authority team despite all that Orton and Rollins have gone through. Like I said, the Authority was desperate to get these two guys' heads straightened and get their egos checked out and try to settle the differences before the Survivor Series, which made Triple H decide to let Orton get his hands on Seth Rollins. So both these guys can duke it out tonight, make this water under the bridge, and get their differences aside, and unite for the cause of the Authority to keep them in power at Survivor Series. So we'll see how that worked out in our main event this evening. If Orton and Rollins got the differences straightened or not. But now on to our next matchup, which was Ryback against Titus O'Neil. Now, we saw Ryback return last week as a babyface. If he wants to, I said this last thing in my review, that they want to make Ryback into a star. They better do it now. You know, they had their chance to make Rusev a star. Not make Rusev a star, but make Ryback a star. And they kind of blew it after the Hell in a Cell match against Punk a couple years back, when he had big babyface pops. And they're trying to do that again, trying to recapture that magic when he came back last week, beat the crap out of Bo Dallas. By the way, Bo Dallas is out with a foot injury. I don't think it was related to his match against Ryback. Maybe he was doing house shows over the weekend, but I think Bo Dallas is out for a few weeks. Anyway. Typical Ryback squash when he was a babyface, you know, the meat hook, the finish, and feed me more. Of course, leading up to the shell shock and the 1-2-3 victory for Ryback. Now, right now, Sheamus is trying to come back in the match against Rusev after the early fury from Rusev in the United States Championship match. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of weird to have a match on the network. My head. They're taking advantage of the network being free this month for new subscribers. So they're taking advantage of it. Now, speaking of Rusev, we have the battle of the Rusev losers. Man who could not defeat the super athlete, the Bulgarian brute, the Russian hero, Rusev. Big Show Mark Henry. Of course, we saw Mark Henry turn heel for the 1 billionth time this past week on Raw. I think Big Show should turn heel again. We haven't seen Big Show in here in a long time. But it didn't matter. The match was typical Big Show and Mark Henry affair. Sloppy moving, slow moving, because they're not as agile, just beating each other with clumsy punching and kicking. until Mark Henry got himself disqualified by using the steel steps to nail against Big Show's head. I'm surprised no one bled during that match, especially after Big Show got nailed in the head with the steel steps, leading to the world's strongest slam on the steel steps for Mark Henry after the matchup after he got DQ. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird to see these two feud again. You know what I mean? I think we've all been bitching about the possibility of Cena Lesnar 3, which is probably going to happen at Survivor Series. Not Survivor Series, but Royal Rumble. So, we've been complaining about that, but now we're saying Mark Henry Big Show again. So, that's more worse than seeing Cena Lesnar 3. Or even worse than seeing the Cena and Orton wrestle again. Even though they Hell in a Cell match wasn't that bad. But wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Better than a Royal Rumble match for sure. I said that in my Hell in a Cell review last week. Now, after seeing Big Show Mark Henry, they'll have another match, sadly. Now on to our next matchup. Nikki Bella, who's now the number one contender for AJ's Divas title, took on Emma tonight. Now, Nikki Bella, she did have a shot at the Divas Championship a couple months ago, but it was in a triple threat match when she was basically the afterthought, because she was in a triple threat match with Paige and AJ when their feud was on fire. So she was an afterthought. But now Nikki gets a one-on-one shot against Paige, which is former BFF AJ. Now, I predict there'll be a Survivor Series Divas match. I bet you AJ will captain a team against Brie's sister Nikki, unless they decide to have the Divas title match at Survivor Series instead of TLC. But we'll see what WWE does with whether or not they're going to have AJ and Nikki fight in Survivor Series in a singles match or have them captain teams. But Nikki Bella, despite Emma's best moves including the dilemma, it was a rack attack, typical Diva squasher move, what it calls Brie Bella's sister Nikki gained the victory with the rack attack. Alright, once again, covering the Sheamus Rusev matches I'm making this review. Sheamus just went for a brogue kick, missed it, and Rusev just nailed it with a big kick of his own. So I'll keep you posted on the ongoing Rusev Sheamus match as this review rolls along. It's kind of weird like that. I was debating about when should I make this review. Should I make it after the Sheamus Rusev match or watch it doing it? Okay, Rusev's got the accolade. He's got the accolade on. He's got the accolade on Sheamus. No way. No way is this going to happen on the network. Then we're going to have a new U.S. champion on the network. No way. It's locked in. Sheamus is trying to fight out of it. Sheamus is trying to get out of it. Oh my God, no way. He's fading. He's fading. Referee may call it. Referee may call it. He's fading quickly. He's fading out. Oh my God. No way. No way. No way, no way, no way. Oh my God. We got a new United States champion. Oh my God. Rusev is the new United States champion. I cannot believe they let this match be on the network. Now, Rusev did have a match on the regular show, squashing the hell out of Zack Ryder. Give him some momentum. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. New United States champion Rusev. Now, U.S. Championship's kind of like a B-list title. But seeing Rusev, an undefeated man, as the U.S. champion, it's interesting. You know what I mean? But I think they should have had him win the title on Raw instead of having it be on a network. Like I said, the only reason why they want to take advantage of the free thing, with the network being free for the entire month of November for new subscribers, that's why they did it. To make people subscribe to the network. But it's kind of weird to see a title change on the network after Raw went off the air. So there you go. Rusev is your new United States champion. We'll see how that goes. And the heat on him is huge right now. And he's like anti-American. And for have him being anti-American and have him have the United States Championship makes it a whole lot interesting. See how that goes. Like, Rusev's okay. But his heel heat is just, like, he gets a lot of heel heat. And Lana gets it too. Especially after she's shocked up. So there you go. Rusev is your new United States champion. And I think Sheamus should turn heel now. Sheamus is okay as a babyface, but he should be here. So there you go. Rusev, new U.S. champ. Interesting. Now, on to our next. I think I talked about Ryback against Titus O'Neil. Talk about that match, about that squasher. So now on to our next matchup. We had one half of the tag team champions, Stardust, taking on Fernando, one half of Los Matadores. And of course, Los Matadores got a non-title win over the tag team champs this past week. I don't think Los Matadores deserve tag team title shots. If they were Primo and Epico, not Fernando and Diego, if you're not oblivious now, if you're still oblivious, Fernando and Diego are Primo and Epico. And I think Fernando is Primo. So there you go. Like kind of a silly matchup with Stardust trying to get the advantage. And even trying to nail Crossbows at one point. But they got distracted by a lot of things, including, of course, Diego and the Bull. And Miz and Sandow came out. And they got whammed. They had Goldust whammed into Miz and Miz down at ringside. Inadvertently, Goldust got inadvertently tossed into Miz and Sandow. Miz down, should I say. It caused a distraction. As Stardust got distracted, Fernando capitalized on it and got the victory out of that distraction. So there you go. Fernando pinned one half of the tag team champions. Like I said, I don't think Los Matadores deserve the title shot. If they do, they'll probably lose. But they need new teams. That's why they need the Ascension to go into the main roster. Instead of being up on a day or a Tommy like they've been doing on NXT, they should go to the main roster and challenge some of these teams. Now on to our main event of the telecast. Not counting the Rusev Sheamus match on the network that just happened just now with the new U.S. champion crowned. We had Randy Orton taking on Seth Rollins, trying to settle the differences. That's what the Authority was hoping. As Triple H, Stephanie, and basically all the Authority cronies, Kane, and of course Noble and Mercury, were all at ringside, trying to make sure that both these guys were going to duke it out, and at the end of the match, hug and shake each other's hand and try to align themselves and get back on the same page, getting ready for Survivor Series. Decent matchup between these two guys. Orton's been having, Orton's doing his whole babyface thing, like teasing being a babyface. I think he's gotten better matches lately. His match against Jericho at Night of Champions was decent, and his match against Cena was surprising. And that's because he has good people, with the exception of Cena, carrying the matches. In this case, Rollins carried the match. And these two guys were just brawling, and like I said, they wanted to settle the differences. Well, that's what the Authority wanted them to do, settle the differences, and get ready to take on the opposition, Team Cena. So, of course, Orton was trying to go for his big moves. Of course, Hangman did 18, of course, big kicks. And of course, Rollins gave rid big kicks of his own. They were balling on the outside even. And as Orton was trying to set up for the big kill, for big moves, he was trying to set up for the RKO, but Rollins countered the RKO, and he was trying to go for a curb stomp. But then, after blocking an RKO, Rollins got the surprise victory by landing a backside and a victory for Rollins. So Rollins got the victory in this matchup. He may have won the battle, but he may not win the war. As Randy Orton was shaking everybody's hand, looked like Orton was going to finally align with the Authority, trying to appease the Authority. Looking like this may have been the match that Orton needed to get his aggression out on Rollins and get the differences settled. He shook the hand of Noble first, then shook the hand of Mercury, then shook the hand of Kane. And then he went face to face to Rollins. They shook hands, looked like it was friendly exchange, and then, like that, bang, RKO from Orton. And then the brawl started. He just beat up on everybody. He beat up on Kane. He beat up on Mercury. He even shoved Triple H. That would have been awesome if you were an RKO Triple H. But he just shoved him. And then the opponent just said, basically, Triple H, as Orton was getting beat up and got curb stomped on the table by Seth Rollins. And Orton bled after that. Like I said, we had two matches that people bled tonight. Cesaro bled during his match against Ambrose. And Orton bled after his match against Rollins. And as Orton was laying prone and bleeding after the curb stomp on the table, Triple H had a decision. Finish Orton. Because Triple H, like I said, Triple H was trying his humble best to keep everybody in order. But Stephanie knew that Orton was no trustful. Like Triple H was trying to keep his trust in Randy Orton. He said, I need Randy Orton. I can trust him. Stephanie's like, I can't trust this guy. He's loose. He's a viper. He's been attacking Seth Rollins for the last couple weeks. You can't trust this guy. And Stephanie's vision was right. Unfortunately, Triple H had to side with Stephanie, put his differences aside and said, yeah, Owen ain't the right guy. I'm trying to keep this ship afloat, trying to keep everybody on the same page, but it's no use now. Owen's not on the same page anymore. Basically, Owen's out the authority. I think y'all knew that. But it was inevitable. The land inevitable that Owen was going to turn his back on the authority. And it was the ultimate exclamation point with another curb stomp on Orton on the steel steps from Rollins. Now, I thought Owen was going to join Team Cena eventually, but I'm hearing that Randy Orton, the reason why he was attacked tonight and the reason why he was curb stomped on the steps, he's making another movie. That's a big thing with WWE Studios. Like, all these guys are leaving, doing these big-time storylines because of movie stuff. Like, what happened with Dean Ambrose, delaying his feud against Rollins for a few weeks after making a movie. And now Orton's making a movie, delaying his feud against Rollins for a few weeks until he's done with his movie. Being went out like this. So, as it stands, it's basically 2 on 2. It's Kane and Rollins, Cena and Ziggler as part of Team Authority and Team Cena. Now, Team Authority's eyeing Rusev. They eyed Rusev, and Rusev had it under consideration. But now that he's the new United States Champion, his stock has gone up. The Authority may want to eye him more to be a part of the Team Authority. And if Rusev does get involved in Team Authority, it'll serve a big purpose. I even said this a few weeks ago, that there was even rumors of a Rusev-Cena feud. And now that Rusev U.S. champion, it'd be very interesting to see Cena feud against Rusev, especially since Cena himself is a former United States champion. And it was one of the first titles that Cena ever won before going on to the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21. It'd be interesting to see Rusev go down that road as well. To see him, the U.S. Championship leading up to the World Heavyweight Championship. But I don't know. So, there you go. I think Owen and Authority is officially done after being attacked in public with 2 curb stomps, one on the table and one on the steel step by Rollins, winding him out because of a movie. So we'll see who joins Team Cena and Authority. I think they're delaying adding new members to the teams because Cena wasn't on Raw tonight. So when Cena returns to Raw next week, expect more people to be added to Team Cena and Authority. They're eyeing Mark Henry as well. Authority. And maybe Big Show may be involved. So we'll see if any new members get added, especially if Cena returns next week. So there you go. For my WWE Raw review for this evening. Thank you all very much for watching, and also bear with me as I was making this review and watching the Sheamus Rusev match at the same time. So with that in mind, y'all been attacked by the news from Zach. See y'all later. Yeah.